So today we'll do the Indian agriculture. कल हम खत्म कर देंगे. कल मैं एक extended lecture लूँगा and I'll free you on 10th of Jan. We'll have a last lecture on 10th of Jan. Maybe I'll have to call you one day for an extended session of maps. किसी एक Saturday को, but 10th of Jan को regular class I'll finish. So we were doing the Indian agriculture. And I explained you what you mean by the concept of land reforms. मैं आपको इसलिए भी फ्री करना चाहता हूँ because agriculture होने के बाद you start studying for prelims properly and use the time of the optional even for the preliminary examination. So land reforms और बाकी revise होना optional revise करना वो सब हो जाएगा 2 महीने में. You just have to revise in detail climate which you obviously you are going to revise with the prelims के लिए. Geomorphology में some theories you have to revise. And so we were doing the scope of the land reforms which comes in the institutional factors of the Indian agriculture. Now there are certain determinants of Indian agriculture, and this determinants of Indian agriculture means the factors that affect the Indian agriculture are physical, institutional and technological or infrastructural. That is what we have done. Physical factors mein there will be the climate, there will be the problems, there will be the concept of a cropping pattern which is determined by the climate, there will be moisture, there is humidity. Institutional factors mein there will be land tenure, ceiling on the land holdings, land reforms, and infrastructural or technological factors mein there will be seeds, power, etc. which we will touch tomorrow. The infrastructural factors. आज हम institutional factors, problems of Indian agriculture, green revolution we will do, and dry land agriculture we will do this. Fine. Tomorrow I'll take the extended class. We'll finish with this and start with the last important topic, that is the resources. That's chapter number 2. 1, 2, 3 में से. So coming to the, tell me what are the salient features or the problems of Indian agriculture. सबसे पहले what are the features of Indian agriculture? As it is very general है, you can just note down 1 or 2 important, means you can just take down the headings of the features of Indian agriculture. कहाँ पे use होगा? Will there be a separate question on the features of Indian agriculture? No. But this you should know to write the answers on the other. That is, अगर question पूछा, how the modern agriculture in India is being affected by institutional factors. So you should know what are the features of the Indian agriculture. So tell me one feature of the Indian agriculture. What? It is dependent upon monsoon. That means it is not dependent too much on irrigation. What is the second feature of, don't write anything. I'll go in the chronological order. What is the second feature? तुमने तो ये chapter पढ़ लिया. We have a primitive agriculture. How do you say it is a primitive agriculture? That means there is lack of mechanization of Indian agriculture. क्यों lack of mechanization in Indian agriculture? Because एक तो there is no capital in the Indian agriculture, and secondly peasants are poor, and thirdly because of the consolidation of land holdings have not occurred. So there is a fragmented kind of a land holding, smaller land holdings. Fourth, can I say there is a dominance of cash crops or food crops in Indian agriculture? There is a dominance of food crops in Indian agriculture. And most of the agriculture is subsistence in nature, except in the regions of success of the green revolution. Most of the agriculture in India is subsistence in nature. Fine? और एक feature Indian agriculture. You are from agricultural background, so this will come as a problem of Indian agriculture. We will write both. Lack of land reforms or the land reforms have not been successful. Q, it has not been successful. Today's lecture, why it has not been successful. One more feature of Indian agriculture is we still use less high yielding variety of seeds. We are still dependent upon the traditional seeds. अब question आता है, what are the benefits, what are the negatives of the high yielding variety of the seeds? अब don't go through your background. So suppose you are from the state Haryana, you are from the state UP, आपके यहाँ high yielding variety of seeds है, but the problem of agriculture जब हम कहते हैं, it is basically the central part of India, जहाँ पे आज भी high yielding variety of seeds नहीं है, and if it is there, then there is lack of irrigation in that region. Fine. Then बाकी का problems of Indian agriculture is subsistence farming, it is mixed farming, there is a diversification of farms in India. That is, in Indian agriculture, both the animals as well as the food crops have equal weightage. But the problem is, there is lack of grazing lands in the Indian agriculture. Fine? Next problem is, they are not as strong a political group. Indian agriculture is not strong as a political group, and they are not united. And इसलिए there are lack of policy recommendations in Indian agriculture. For example, याद रखो, in 1940s and 1950s में most of the political power was wielded by उस time के जमींदार्स या kings. यही लोग बन गए governors etc. Most of the zamindars or kings, छोटे छोटे, India had more than 500 kingdoms. So ये बन गए कांग्रेस के समय गवर्नर्स, या ये बन गए किसी भी गवर्नमेंट में गवर्नर्स एक्सेट्रा. Then only they gave the, so British was replaced by the feudal mindset, and therefore in 1967 when Green Revolution came, this zamindars etc. became very powerful, and especially the farmers which belonged to the OBC in the society, other backward caste in the society, became a very powerful group. Why? Because who were OBCs? OBCs were those people who had very huge agricultural land. They were the cultivators of the land. They had huge agricultural land, but they were not accepted as the topmost class in the society. So when the Green Revolution came, agriculture became very strong, and as a result of this, OBC lobby became very strong. As the OBC lobby became very strong, they became a political group. As they became a political group, 1990s में they brought in for themselves what is known as Mandal Commission. ये हमारे scope of the topic नहीं है, but you have to understand why OBC reservation came. They brought in Mandal Commission, and they took the benefits over the period of time. That after 1990s came liberalization, privatization, globalization wala period, when this OBC also became bureaucrats. This OBC also became some of the topmost leaders, whether it is Mayawati, whether it is Mulayam Singh Yadav, whether it is Sharad Pawar, whether it is the DMK, whether it is Jayalalitha, all this, or whether it is Naveen Patnaik, fine, Lalu Prasad Yadav, ये सारे OBC leaders हैं, whether it is Chautala, whether it is the Shiromani Akali Dal. You have to understand, ये जो rise of political leaders is directly related to the Green Revolution, in the success of the Green Revolution. But after the Green Revolution became successful, this became leaders, and like any problem in India, trickle down effect nahi hua. It did not really went to the real OBCs which were at the backward level. ठीक है, चलता रहा till the year 2010 when came the economic crisis, and with the economic crisis there was drying up of the jobs in the private sector, and with the drying up of the jobs in the private sector, आज फिर से ये OBCs, अब लोग जो है जिनको OBC status मिला नहीं है due to the criminal condition, they are asking for reservation of jobs. Fine. This indicates that it is political parties of India are mostly, or political parties of India, or political landscape of India, not parties of India, is dependent upon success of agriculture. If agriculture is successful, koi nahi mangega reservation. If the agriculture is not successful, people will start demanding reservation. Why? Because the private sector is not that powerful enough in India to bring these people inside. But problem ye hua that is after 1990s, these OBC leaders became very, very strong. They became satraps of the region. You must have heard about the word satraps. What do you mean by satraps? feudal landlord type, regional landlords. They became the satraps of the region, and over the period of time, कोई भी regional satrap में अपनी family चलाते गए, and there has been no new leader. So today the crisis in Indian agriculture is that these are the regional satraps. They are no longer in agriculture since the success of Green Revolution. They are the new zamindars, and they do not understand what is the ground condition, and they don't allow the new leaders in the agriculture to come up. Right? Whether it is, you will not find successor to Mayawati, you will not find anyone who can challenge Mayawati or Mulayam Singh Yadav or Sharad Pawar or Stalin or Lalu Prasad Yadav. ये अपनी घर के ये चला रहे. Fine. So this have become the regional satraps, and that is one reason why agriculture as a field has gone behind. Why it has gone behind? Because there is no common representation to the agriculture. What are the problems of Indian agriculture, etc. Fine. So we'll take one, two, three statements here. The agricultural sector in India, has major impact on the Indian economy, through forward and backward linkages, through forward and backward linkages. Creating both internal demand, comma, increased consumption, as well as pushing the economic output. It is said that 4% increase in agriculture is necessary for 10% increase in GDP. 4% increase in the agriculture is necessary for 10% increase in the GDP. This Indian agriculture is based on numerous factors, which are physical factors such as soil. You can just take this diagram: climate, rain, wind, etc. Next, institutional factors. Such as tenancy reforms, institutional factors such as tenancy, ownership, size of land holdings, etc. Size of land holdings, etc. Infrastructural factors such as irrigation, electricity, comma, roads, marketing and storage facilities, insurance, comma, research and development. देखो मैंने इसमें एक्सेट्रा नहीं दिया है because you should know what are the infrastructural factors. Fine? Research and development. Why? Because यहाँ से separate question आएगा. There will be no question on the physical factors. Don't worry. Even if it comes, you will be able to write it. There will be a question on the institutional factors which we are going to do today. And infrastructural factors I am going to explain with the notes tomorrow. Fine? Seeds का क्या problems है? What is the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana? What are the benefits? What is the insurance? How is National Agriculture Insurance System? What are उसका problems? Fine? जो नई नई schemes है Government of India की agriculture की. So if you have time today, go home and do the agriculture का schemes, important schemes. It will be beneficial for you both for prelims as well as कल के lecture के लिए. What are the important schemes of the Indian agriculture? परंपरागत कृषि विकास योजना पे क्वेश्चन आना बाकी है. इस पिछले साल एक्सपेक्टेड था, so it did not come, so maybe this year. No. Institutional factors means land को कैसे utilize करते हैं. You have to understand, institutional factor does not mean government ka factors. Institutional factor means how our institutions have shaped land utilization. Institutional factor is always related to land. And ek last, technological factors. Technological factors. These are a part of infrastructural factors only, but in the last years there have been separate question on the technological factors, and that is why I am distinguishing what is the technological factors as compared to the institutional infrastructural factors. Technological factors में आता है high yielding variety of seeds. Separate question on high yielding variety of seeds. Chemical fertilizers, technological factors, not normal fertilizers, chemical fertilizers. Machinery, chemical insecticide and pesticide. Chemical insecticide and pesticides. The combination of these factors, have given rise to following characteristics of Indian agriculture. So characteristics of Indian agriculture. If you want to write in detail, you write it. If वैसे ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ेगा, unless I will tell you to write in detail. So सबसे पहला characteristics of Indian agriculture. So this will be separate question. What are the characteristics of Indian agriculture? Fine. Before I go further, Indian agriculture, सोच के बताओ, is deterministic in nature या possibilist in nature? It is mostly nature dependent. So it is mostly determinist. Fine. So that is what I want you to write. So Indian agriculture shows deterministic nature. Shows deterministic nature where soil, climate, topography, socio-economic conditions, play more important role in decision making. Understanding? Not just nature का determinism. कौन से caste के हो आप? What is your socio-economic condition? That will also determine your decision making. Fine? Getting it? Saini wala example. Saini versus Jat wala examples. So first, characteristics. Subsistence agriculture. It is subsistence in nature. What do you mean by subsistence in nature? Farmers will produce the crop for their own personal consumption, yeah, as per their own personal consumption. For example, even if you are a big farmer today, so आप देखोगे कि मैं घर में क्या खाता हूँ, मैं गेहूं खाता हूँ, so आप पहले सबसे ज़्यादा गेहूं लोगे. You will not see what the market demands. So that is what is known as subsistence in nature, except in the regions of Green Revolution, question is, why subsistence in nature? Why? Tell me why Indian agriculture is subsistence in nature. 2-3 things. For commercial agriculture, you require huge amount of inputs. For huge amount of inputs, you require सबसे पहले bigger farms. You cannot do the inputs on the smaller farms. So for most of the Indian farmers have smaller farms. 70% of Indian farmers are having small land holdings. Getting it? Secondly, for commercial nature, you require money. Capital is absent. Now, question is why capital is absent? Capital is absent because एक तो आपके पास जमीन के rights नहीं है. So क्या करना चाहिए? Land reforms. या capital is absent because you don't have any collateral, because you are a small and marginal farmer. Fine? Or you don't have any other alternate source of income, because your children are also working on the farm. That is what is the problem of disguised unemployment. Farm में ज़रूरत है 2 लोगों की, पूरी family काम कर रही है. That is what is the problem of disguised unemployment. And secondly, you don't have money because you are dependent only on monsoon. Maybe irrigation has not reached your home, or you are utilizing water use efficiency of you is only 40%, जबकि economics कहता है that minimum water use efficiency should be 60%. Means out of water which you apply, 60% should be used by the crops. But canal irrigation ka highest value is 40% is used by the crops, not 60%. So this is the third reason. So your water is going waste. Now your water which is going waste, it is not going waste. वो आपके खेत में है, which is getting evaporated, and therefore your soil is facing the problem of salinity, resulting into further degradation of the soil. Fourth, कि आपको ऊपर उठना है, but you don't know what are the research and development, because there is lack of agriculture extension facilities. Or fifth, for example, fifth is you don't have marketing facilities. I'll tell you a simple example. My father always tells his friends, when he was in 10th standard, he had heard a government declaration that there will be orange processing unit in his district, that is Amravati, which is more famous, especially a taluka known as Morshi. As I tell you, Nagpur is not famous for oranges. It is Amravati which is more famous for oranges, but because Nagpur is a major city, उसके ऊपर मेरे को बोर्ड का आज इतना काम नहीं है, ब्लर आ रहा है, देखना अभी एक लाइट से या वो वाली लाइट, या फिर ऑफ कर देना. Morshi, it was declared, etc. was done. Today he's saying, I am 70 years plus. We still don't know. उसके बाद नेक्स्ट गवर्नमेंट आई, उसने भी ये डिक्लेयर किया. देवेंद्र फडणवीस आया, उसने भी यही डिक्लेयर किया. अब नई गवर्नमेंट बनी है महायुति आघाड़ी, उसने भी ये डिक्लेयर किया. बट उनके 70 साल में, मतलब तब वो आज पिछले 60 सालों में, बिकॉज ही वॉज ऑलरेडी 10 years old. सो उन पिछले 60 सालों में दे हैव नॉट इवन आइडेंटिफाइड द प्लेस कि कहाँ पे देयर विल बी अ ऑरेंज प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट. अंडरस्टैंडिंग? दे हैव नॉट इवन आइडेंटिफाइड द प्लेस. क्यों? बिकॉज कोalition धर्मा, some coalition partners are there, हर एक को संभालना पड़ता है. Understanding? Till the time you don't have majority in the government, decisions are not taken. ठीक है, मेरे डिस्ट्रिक्ट में मत दो, the agriculture minister goes to some other person who is giving the support, उसके डिस्ट्रिक्ट में चला जाता है. And that is why you must have read yesterday's news, that is till the time the coalition का agreement was being done, in those 20 days 393 farmers ended their lives in Maharashtra. ये जब ये चल रहा था, कल ही की न्यूज़ है ये. 393 farmers killed themselves in Maharashtra जब तक ये arrangement चल रही थी from BJP to the new government. So understanding, one of the reason is politicization of the issue. And see, whatever the problems of Indian agriculture are, they are only to the poor farmers. They are not to the rich farmers. When rich farmer does not worry, he can always sell his land. Fine? So, why? The conditions you can take, why? Subsistence in nature. First, lack of irrigation. And therefore, farming is either rain-fed or dry land agriculture. Farming is either rain-fed or dry land agriculture. You will understand this tomorrow. What do you mean by rain-fed farming? It is totally dependent on rainfall. What is dry land agriculture? It is dependent on rainfall, but the rainfall is not sufficient for agricultural crops. Second, lack of high-yielding variety of seeds. And other infrastructural factors such as irrigation, power, etc. Yeah, irrigation and power. Fertilizers तो सबके पास है, insecticides, pesticides भी सबके पास है. Third, illiteracy in farmers. And therefore, They do not understand. They do not understand the language of economics, comma, global demand and supply, and fluctuations in agriculture. This becomes a problem because today's Indian farmer is exposed to world market due to globalization. See, what was the one of the reason for not signing the RCEP? Was milk industry. Fine. So if had we signed the RCEP, the New Zealand ka milk products would have come in India, and it would have destroyed our milk industry, because you as a urban customer, you don't think कि Indian farmer का milk है, चाहे इसका 10 रुपए महंगा है तो मैं इसको खरीदूंगा. Urban customer is more price conscious than the rural customer. याद रखना. Fine? Getting it? अब 3 दिन में घर गया था, एक जगह गांव में गया, उन्होंने हमारे यहाँ पे कांदा मतलब भजी, जिसको क्या बोलते हैं, अनियन पकोड़ास, प्याज पकोड़ास, चाहे 110 रुपए किलो है, बट मेहमान आए हैं, उनको पूरा डिश. फाइन. यही किसी इसके घर में जाना, आप किसी शहरी आदमी के, प्याज पकोड़ा नहीं खिलाएगा आपको. अंडरस्टैंडिंग? So you have to understand, these people are more emotional. So they will do anything. So they will not consider कि अब मेहमान आ रहे हैं तो 110 kg है या 200 रुपए kg है, जो है वो है. Fine? So next, fourth factor. Fourth, I guess, right? Heavy population pressure. Comma, disguised unemployment. Along with small uneconomic size of land holdings. Small uneconomic size of land holdings. So the focus of the farmer is, on feeding his family rather than producing for the market. Feeding his family rather than producing for the market. Next. Large scale proportion of Indian farmers, large proportion of Indian farmers still use primitive technology. primitive technology. Still use primitive technology. There are numerous constraints in adaptation of new technology. There are numerous constraints on adaptation of new technology, such as size of land holdings, एक constraint. Constraint of second constraint है land ownership. Third, capital constraint. And fourth, low rate of diffusion of innovation. In agriculture, due to rigid social outlook and low social capital. पूरा ये पेपर 1 का कंस्ट्रेंट है. नाउ पेपर 1 का यू हैव अप्लाइड. दिस इज वन टॉपिक इन पेपर 1 कि हाउ फास्टर द आइडियाज विल गो. Faster the ideas will go if the society is flexible, which is not in Indian context, and if there is a high social capital. But in rural India, this is the biggest problem. Ideas don't go. Ideas maybe will go from caste to caste. A Jat farmer does thing, only Jats will adopt. The others will not adopt, otherwise the Jat will become successful. ये दिखाने के लिए, fine? And उसका reason है political setup in villages. Because सरपंच फिर जो successful हुआ वो सरपंच बन जाएगा. So they don't want, वो चाहे भूखे रहेंगे, but they don't want the caste equations to be changed in the villages. Understanding? Especially कोई भी plains के village का ये concept है. I don't know about the hilly regions का villages. That is, I don't know the case about Manipur, but it is there in entire mainland India. Fine? So, मेरे विलेज के पास एक विलेज है जहाँ से पिछले 10 साल में रोड नहीं बना है. Why? Because only Adivasi is elected from the village and MLA belongs to non-Adivasi caste. So they don't give funds only कि तुम हमारी पार्टी को क्यों नहीं elect करके देते. Right? And this is there. For example, one of the reasons which we should not be writing here, but याद रखना, what I realized again is there is total ban on sand mining. And sand mining used to, कैसी बात निकली? My father asked his patient, I want to sell my car. Do you have any good person who can buy the car? His answer was, sir, ये sand mining ban वो सब ने economy को destroy कर दिया. Means you are protecting the environment at the cost of what? At the cost of economy. पहले sand mining was there in this Konkan ka villages. Sand mining used to make the farmers very rich, and as they became rich, obviously उनके साथ problem हुआ इसका alcohol का. But there was one person who started satsang, and most of the people, the sand miners जो थे या sand या ईट भट्टी वाले, उन्होंने अपने बच्चों को convent में डाला. They used to go to the satsang, they used to cooperate as a this thing, and village economy was flourishing because in Konkan you cannot take anything other than rice and mango and cashew nut. So there has to be sand mining. But government comes with the blanket ban on sand mining, and जो truck, they used to get 6,000 rupees per truck, and दिन में around 300 trucks निकलते थे. Fine? So now there is a ban on sand mining. Everything. उनका schools, children are school dropouts. They have to sell the flats because rice कितना देगा आपको? So you have to understand environment को कब protect करना है. Though I am an environment का teacher, will be writing all this कि you should protect sand mining, but it should always come after economic development. तब तक होने दो. We can clean river Ganga once we have 3,000 crores. पहले 3,000 crores लेके आओ. Thames River of London was more polluted than today's Ganga. But today, that Thames River is one of the cleanest rivers of the world. Understanding? जो Rhine River है, it used to flow with what you see today, कि with foam, पूरे chemical industry का foam. But Rhine River का आज आप पानी directly पी सकते हो. Why? Because they have reached to that level. Understanding? But the problem is, leftist ideologies dominate in India. Media is totally leftist in nature. Understanding? So, ऐसा नहीं है कि it has to be rightist only, but it has to be, you have to understand what is happening at the ground level and then make the laws in Delhi. Nobody knows the ground situation. So इसलिए मैं कभी-कभी कहता हूँ कि इंडिया को बर्बाद किया है जेएनयू ने. So ऐसा नहीं है. There have been some good people also from the JNU, but that ideology is not right. Next, fifth. This lack of agricultural marketing facilities. Lack of agricultural marketing facilities and agriculture connectivity. Agricultural connectivity. Agricultural connectivity. Do not incentivize the farmers. Do not incentivize the farmers to take commercial crops, or large scale agricultural produce. Because of problems of perishable nature and distress sale. You understand what is the distress sale? Distress sale. You have 5 kgs. For your house, you require only 1 kg. You do commercial agriculture, you require only 1 kg. So surplus is 4 kg. You want at least 20 rupees per kg to come, but बारिश होती है या सड़ने लगता है, so you sell it at, instead of 20 rupees, you sell it at 5 rupees. You go into loss. Because to take this 5 kg, you will require fertilizer, you will require seeds, high yielding variety of seeds, you will require power, you will require irrigation, and this all will come at cost. And for that you will be taking a loan from the bank. But 1 kg जो घर के लिए लेना है उसके लिए कोई किसी की जरूरत नहीं. So but what you realize is after taking this extra 4 kgs, you go to the agriculture market and there is lack of storage facilities. So you engage in distress sale. That is why the distress sale is the biggest problem of Indian agriculture. Understanding? And इसी का solution which government is coming up is e-NAM. E-marketing. Okay? But what is the real life problem of e-NAM? The real life problem of e-NAM is there is a lack of roads. You will sell it to someone in the city directly, farmer to the market. APMC के through जाने की जरूरत नहीं. You are selling it directly to the city. But रोड होना चाहिए, इंटरनेट कनेक्शन होना चाहिए, एंड दैट इज वाई द प्रोग्राम सच एज डिजिटल इंडिया वो सब बहुत ज़रूरी है. देयर हैज़ टू बी बिजली. पानी है विलेजेस में, पानी का प्रॉब्लम है सिटीज़ का, बिजली का प्रॉब्लम है विलेजेस का. देयर हैज़ टू बी रोड्स, ऑल वेदर रोड्स. देयर हैज़ टू बी कनेक्टिविटी थ्रू the telephone services or through internet services, and basically सबसे ज़्यादा important there has to be kiosk in the market, in the villages. What is kiosk? कि एक ATM जैसा machine जिसके through all the information will be given to the farmers. क्या क्या दिया जाता है to the farmers? What is the rate in the market? What is the rate in the global thing? क्या है फ्यूचर में, इन देयर ओन लैंग्वेजेस. हु शुड बी डूइंग कियोस्क वाला सर्विस? स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स, बिकॉज एग्रीकल्चर इज अ स्टेट सब्जेक्ट. सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट तो कहता है कियोस्क लेके आओ, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट डोंट डू इट. सो हु शुड बी डूइंग इज द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट. एंड कौन कर रहा है कियोस्क? कियोस्क इज डन बाय ITC एंड नेस्ले एंड यूनिलीवर. मीन्स these are the private companies, you remember, but they think that yes, Indian agriculture is suffering, Indian agriculture it becomes powerful, then even we will benefit. So at least under the corporate social responsibility these companies are doing. But companies का क्या है? It is always based on profit and loss. So suppose ITC का loss हुआ in particular year, because it is very dynamic. So ITC सबसे पहले क्या बंद करेगा? ये फालतू का खर्चा है, कियोस्क बंद करो. नेस्ले ये फालतू का खर्चा है, कियोस्क बंद करो. अंडरस्टैंडिंग? ये हुआ है इन इंडियन विलेजेस. अंडरस्टैंडिंग? सॉल्यूशंस. So what can be the first solution? So subsistence nature of Indian farming. अभी तक हम पढ़ते आए हैं subsistence nature of Indian farming. Why? You know the problems. Even if the farmer desires नहीं उसको अमीर बनना है, he wants to produce it for the market. He does not have institutional support. He does not have infrastructural support. So first solution is development of infrastructural facilities such as roads, internet connections, I have to understand today there is a globalized world. अगर हमारे विलेज में इंटरनेट कनेक्शन नहीं है तो वो हमारा प्रॉब्लम है, क्योंकि यूएस के विलेज में देयर इज ए इंटरनेट कनेक्शन एंड वहाँ का फार्मर कैन डायरेक्टली सेल इट टू मार्केट. Understanding? We are living in the globalized world today. Internet connections, comma, power, etc. Power, etc. Second, water conservation. Water conservation through watershed management, comma, rainwater harvesting, and promotion of micro irrigation through government subsidies. Through government subsidies. Example, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. We'll do this tomorrow, case study. Is there? Tomorrow. Sinchai Yojana. Second case study. Pani Foundation. In drought-prone villages of India, of Maharashtra. Drought-prone villages of Maharashtra. किसका है पानी फाउंडेशन? Who should be working? Political leaders. Who is working? A film actor. It is one of the most successful watershed development projects of the recent times. Pani Foundation. I will discuss this tomorrow. We'll discuss this tomorrow. So, what is the idea behind it? Idea behind it is, हमें सिर्फ case study लिखनी है. Idea behind it is, it asks the villages to conserve the water through techniques. कौन काम करता है उसमें? No मनरेगा. मनरेगा में बहुत सबसे ज़्यादा corruption. Fine. So it will ask the villagers to work themselves. जिसको कहेगा श्रमदान. He will go to each and every village and he will take part in the working project. So villages will, in the month of May, April and May, जब कोई भी agricultural season नहीं होता, the villages will dig the wells, watershed management के लिए या tanks etc. जब जून में बारिश होती है, जिसको हम कहेंगे श्रमदान. Why? Because each and every village person works there. अब आमिर खान के साथ आपको काम करने मिल रहा है, लोग कास्ट और सब भूल के काम करने लग जाते हैं. Fine? And who is along with Amir Khan? Many smaller celebrities, yeah, even the district collector, etc. comes there. अब आमिर खान आया है, district collector आया, obviously MLA, forgetting his political inclination, has to come there. Understanding? So everyone works, and when the water comes in this region, rainwater comes, तो वहाँ पे पानी है. So this has helped because Maharashtra का villages faced 3 years का drought, and this year there has been good rainfall and water has been conserved. जहाँ जहाँ पानी फाउंडेशन हुआ है, water has been conserved. How to make sure that हर साल थोड़ी आमिर खान काम करेगा, उसको भी रोजी रोटी चलानी है. That is, he has to work in the films. So he organizes the, what you can say, a cup, water trophy every year, in which the best village is given 50 lakh rupees of cash prize. किसको? पंचायत को. Right? And it is done by at the very large scale. So this is what is the work, and it is very successful. Pani Foundation is better than Anna Hazare's ka, because Anna Hazare did not have that much impact jitna Amir Khan had in the Pani Foundation ka movement, watershed development ka project. Third, at the international level, the developing countries will have to come together as a pressure group. Asking the developed countries to remove or roll back, जो भी word है, to roll back blue box and amber box subsidies in agriculture. To roll back blue box and amber box subsidies in agriculture. These are known as WTO ka Singapore issues. Developed nation wants developing nations to open their market for trade in services, in manufactured goods. Developing nation wants developed nations to open their market for agriculture produce. Obviously, the cost of production is less in countries like us, which are the developing produce. Now, as per WTO, there are three kinds of agricultural subsidies. One is blue box, one is amber box, and one is green box. Now, why the name green box? Because these are the subsidies, just like traffic light signal, they are allowed. Why the name amber box? Just like traffic light signals, they are allowed in limited quantity. And what are blue box subsidies? Which are not allowed because they are trade distorting. So हमारा national food security mission came in amber box subsidies because government is going to procure food for the poor. So उसके कारण production बढ़ेगा, procurement price, the farmers will get the minimum support price and they will engage in food production, and as a result the cost will be less. It was allowed at 10%. The government can procure 10% of food. Now what are the blue box subsidies? We as a country cannot engage in the blue box subsidies, but USA will ask the farmers to produce corn on large scale. The farmers will produce corn on the large scale. Once the corn is produced, they will buy the entire corn from the farmers and giving them very handsome cash. तो ये है cash subsidies. Farmer कहता है कि हमें तो tobacco लेना instead of corn. The government will say no. We will give you the price which is better than tobacco, but develop corn. He will produce corn, and once the corn is produced, they will look at the international price. If the international price of the corn is very, very low, they will take the entire corn and throw it in Atlantic Ocean, so that the corn ka prices remain high. And USA remains prime exporter and earner of corn. These are what are known as the blue box subsidies. Fine. Gulf of Mexico में dump किया जाता है corn, but it is not given to the developing nations or to the least developed nations, क्योंकि if the corn goes to the market, तो फिर वहाँ की price कम हो जाएगी corn की, and USA is going to suffer. They will ask the farmer कि इस साल don't take any agricultural crop, leave the land fallow so that the land will regain its fertility. The farmer will ask, what about our losses? Cash दी जाती है to the farmers. These are what are known as blue box subsidies. Understanding? But problem है कि there is grouping में सिर्फ India and China is together. पाकिस्तान USA की साइड लेता है, African countries USA की साइड लेती है. Why? Because they are given aids. Right? Because if the Pakistan opposes USA, उसका military aid खत्म हो जाता है. Understanding? So all the countries will have to come together. Here only India and China is acting as a pressure group, and thoda bahut BRICS nation are acting as a pressure group. The other countries are not acting as a pressure group, and iska major thing is US and Europe. They are using these subsidies. They are not removing the subsidies. Europe, Australia. This was one reason why RCEP में ऐसा नहीं है the cost of milk production is very low in New Zealand. It is the government which is making the cost of milk production low. Agriculture cannot sustain in today's climate without government intervention. Understanding? So it is in the countries like New Zealand, it is the government which is giving. Leakages नहीं है, subsidies बहुत ज़्यादा है, farmers को सब कुछ free में मिलता है. So obviously his input price is zero. Because there is no population pressure. So this is what is the blue box amber. So you have to even tell at the international level what should be done. Fourth, ये commonly asked question है prelims का. Singapore issues in WTO relate to what? Relate to agriculture subsidies. Then they ask you what are the three kinds of subsidies: blue box, amber box, and green box subsidies. Traffic light signal याद रखो, green allowed, so totally allowed. Research and development activities in agriculture, MSP, ये है सब green box subsidies में. Amber box, orange color की, they should be slowed down, and red light के बदले they have used blue box, which are not at all allowed. Why they are not allowed? Because ये keyword है, because they are considered as trade distorting. Why they don't sell it to African nations? Why they don't give it to Nigeria? Why they don't give it to Sub-Saharan Africa? They don't give it to Sub-Saharan Africa because if they give food to Sub-Saharan Africa, the biggest earner of USA, that is the weapon industry, will collapse. It is because of hunger, internet connection. It is because of hunger कि AK-47 बेची जाती है in Africa, right? Because of landlords. Otherwise, you should ask yourself a single question कि वहाँ पे लोगों को खाने के लिए पैसे नहीं है, and they have AK-47 in the hand, they have rocket launchers, small kids. Why? US का weapon industry. So that is why USA is always criticized by human rights group. If there is hunger, then there will be chaos in the society. If there is chaos in the society, then lords honge. Now who are these lords? Crime mafias, which are illegal owners of mines, and they are paid by the US government. कोई भी Hollywood movie देख लो तुम्हें समझ में आ जाएगा. इंटरनेट कोई भी एक शुरू Blood Diamond है, या there is a movie known as Hotel Rwanda, one of the best movies. You will understand this. Or there is a movie known as Inconvenient Truth. Even in that, it is shown. Yes. Because WTO is based on democratic decision making. यही तो है गलती WTO की. No, WTO कहता है कि ये 3 टाइप की सब्सिडी है, these are not allowed, and final decision कैसे लेते हैं? Between countries. WTO में one vote one answer है ना problem. There is no, unlike IMF, there is no quota system in WTO. There is one vote. So USA says no, we are not going to ban it unless you open the agricultural market. India says no, unless you ban it, we are not going to open the market. यहाँ पे अटक गया. USA के साथ क्या है? पूरा यूरोपियन कंट्रीज एंड पूरी लीस्ट डेवलप. इंडिया के साथ कौन है? चाइना, इंडिया, ब्राजील, थोड़ा बहुत श्रीलंका, रशिया. रशिया to some extent, Russia is not that a big player in WTO. South Africa, 5-6 countries, BRICS. So that is ये problem है WTO का, one vote, one this thing. So इसीलिए और China को फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा because China, you should know, has joined WTO on its own terms. On its own terms. 20 साल negotiation किए, then it joined WTO. And हम कहते हैं proudly that we are the founding members of WTO, but on the terms of WTO. Understanding? Fourth. They are all blue box subsidies. Australia, why it is a developed nation without manufacturing activity, though it is an exporter of raw material. Australia is Anglo-America. Anglo-America means England, Europe, Western Europe. यूएसए, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, न्यूजीलैंड, ये सब एक ही ग्रुपिंग है. ट्रांस पैसिफिक, ट्रांस अटलांटिक नेशंस, that is a single grouping. English speaking developed countries. जापान को फर्क नहीं पड़ता बिकॉज वहाँ इट इज नॉट इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर एग्रीकल्चर. एंड जापान तो विल वांट उसका मार्केट, इंडस्ट्रियल मार्केट टू बी एक्सपोज्ड. नेक्स्ट is domestic reforms such as APMC. APMC reforms. You know what is APMC reforms? APMC. What is APMC? Farmer of a particular region can sell their produce only to the market, which is known as APMC, Agriculture Produce and Marketing Centers. But APMC is dominated by traders. Farmer will never go there and get uska price. Traders is going to decide कि हम कितने price पे ये करेंगे. APMC. So the government is asking for the states to implement the model APMC Act. याद रखना, सेंटर कैन जस्ट गिव मॉडल एक्ट्स हियर, एग्रीकल्चर इज अ स्टेट सब्जेक्ट. इसलिए देयर इज अ डिमांड दैट एग्रीकल्चर शुड बी टेकन इन द कॉन्करेंट लिस्ट बिकॉज द स्टेट्स आर नॉट विलिंग टू डू द. क्योंकि दो रीजंस है. एक तो दिस ट्रेडर्स आर द मेजर सोर्स ऑफ रेवेन्यू टू द पार्टीज, नॉट टू द गवर्नमेंट, टू द पार्टीज, इलेक्शन के फंड्स. एंड सेकेंडली, जितना टाइम तक यू कीप द फार्मर बैकवर्ड, तब तक ही इज योर वोट बैंक. अंडरस्टैंडिंग? जब तक राम मंदिर नहीं बनेगा तब तक वोट बैंक है राम मंदिर वाला. वंस राम मंदिर बन गया तो कहां गया वोट बैंक? इशू इज रिजॉल्व्ड. जब तक पाकिस्तान का इशू इज नॉट रिजॉल्व, तब तक जब तक कश्मीर का इशू इज नॉट रिजॉल्व, तब तक पाकिस्तान की बात सुनेगा यूएसए. बट वंस द कश्मीर इशू इज रिजॉल्व्ड, then what is the importance of Pakistan? Because Afghanistan ka already issue has been resolved to some extent. Understanding? So you have to keep the issues burning many times. So that is why it is said that CAA is the new issue, because now Supreme Court has said banao Ram Mandir. What will be the next issue for 20 years then? There has to be some issue for, if the Modi solves all the problems, then what is the need of Modi? Understanding? Then change the government, because you as a democracy you always will be fed up. आपको हर कुछ नया चाहिए, especially the new generation. Yes, model APMC Act has not been utilized. So I'll discuss this APMC tomorrow. APMC Act. Model APMC Act. E-NAM. So see, our finance minister says ki E-NAM will be the future. But when the E-NAM will be the future? When the states will implement it. States ही implement नहीं करते. Getting it? E-NAM. And reforms in land records, such as computerization of land holdings, which will allow cooperative and corporate farming. Allow cooperative and corporate farming. But see, government का इसमें limitation है. Government will make the rules. private companies will use the rules for their benefit. Gujarat controversy. Gujarat farmers did the same kind of corporate farming which PepsiCo was doing in Punjab. So PepsiCo went to court. And yaad rakhna hamesha that the government always will have limitations because this PepsiCo etc. have just 10% research and development on agricultural activities. Baki unka sab profit hota hai. And they can hire battery of lawyers. You getting it? You can. But yes, Indian farmers also should think about those things. So ये मैं कल डिस्कस करूंगा कि क्या प्रॉब्लम्स है, इश्यूज है ऑफ द कॉर्पोरेट फार्मिंग. अंडरस्टैंडिंग. सो टुमारोज लेक्चर विल बी मोस्टली ऑन द करंट इश्यूज. टुडेज लेक्चर ये जो स्टैटिक इश्यूज पे है. एंड एक्सेट्रा. एंड लास्ट, educating the Indian farmers. Educating the Indian farmers. About cropping pattern based on weather. Cropping farmer based on weather. Weather conditions. Comma. Based on weather conditions. Cropping pattern based on weather conditions. You cannot take sugarcane in the drought-prone region because sugarcane is giving you good return. Weather conditions, comma, soil fertility, soil fertility, and diversification in agriculture. And diversification in agriculture. Full stop. This will require both state intervention. This will require both state intervention by universities strengthening their agriculture extension services. Agriculture extension services and community participation. And community participation by initiatives such as Seed Bank Village. Seed Bank Village. Fine. Take one question. To double the farmer's income by 2023. To double the farmer's income by 2023. Farmers need to be pushed from subsistence to commercial agriculture. Farmers need to be pushed or moved from subsistence to commercial agriculture. Full stop. Subsistence to commercial agriculture. In the light of above statement, In the light of above statement, examine the restraints and give practical solutions. Examine the restraints and give practical solutions. So यही आंसर आपको थोड़ा बहुत चेंज करके लिखना है. Obviously in this answer some other factors will also come, but not that important. These are the major this thing for the so solutions क्या है, what are the problems, what are the restraints, why they are commercial, why they are subsistence, and what are the solutions, and obviously some case studies we will be doing tomorrow. For example, Pani Foundation की case study depending upon the length of the answer. 150 वर्ड्स है तो सिर्फ एग्जाम्पल दो, 250 वर्ड्स है तो पुट पानी फाउंडेशन के बारे में सम वर्ड्स. फाइन. Second characteristics of Indian agriculture is high population pressure. Now why? See, yes, problem came already in the first point. Why? Due to question will be very direct. What are the characteristics of Indian agriculture? You have to just write in points. Solution क्या होगा इसका? Though it won't be asked, solution will be manufacturing. Central role should be given to manufacturing activity. Third, there is too much dominance of food crops in India, and there is insignificant role of the fodder crops in the system. In this, our cropping pattern is dominated by wheat and rice. While there is a limited role of hard cereals, hard cereals, pulses, as well as oil seeds, pulses and oil seeds. Hard cereals या millets जिसको हम कहेंगे, जवार बाजरा, pulses and oil seeds. Due to this, next paragraph, due to this, Indian soil lacks nitrogen fixation ability. क्यों? क्योंकि pulses कम है. Indian soil lacks nitrogen fixation ability, comma, people have protein deficiency, and we spend high amount of foreign exchange. In the import of oil seeds. The import of oil seeds. One more point. Due to lack of fodder crops, in spite of having largest क्या है हमारे इसमें, livestock, largest livestock in the world, we are not a major player in milk and meat export. Quantitatively नहीं, मैं qualitatively बात कर रहा हूँ. We are not a major player qualitatively in milk and meat export. We are not a major player qualitatively in milk and meat export. Quantity wise तो हम बहुत ज़्यादा है. So हमारा meat कौन लेता है? Gulf nations, but not Europe. Europe में meat will come from Argentina. Europe में meat will come from New Zealand. Who has higher paying capacity? European nations. And milk we don't export only. Understanding? Because there is no takers for Indian milk. In fact, we import the baby milk from other countries rather than exporting the milk. सबसे ज़्यादा world में livestock is in with us, and still we import the milk. कहाँ से आएंगे farmers के पास पैसे? क्यों? Because fodder crops को importance ही नहीं है. You see, in Delhi, most of the cows will be eating the garbage. That will come in testing because bio accumulation and biomagnification, and this milk ka sample is rejected by European countries and US ka countries in India. That is why we are not signing RCEP. Understanding? ये एक single reason है we are not signing RCEP. Manufacturing powerhouse तो we can be there, but who will protect the Indian agriculture then once we sign the RCEP? See, software industry, you exposed it to the international market. It has become very strong. So RCEP sign करके you would have exposed the Indian manufacturing industry, low cost या small MSME sector, वो खुद ब खुद develop होती. Survival of the fittest होता, वो खुद ब खुद develop होती. But problem is agriculture, and agriculture को you cannot directly expose. And because of agriculture, we did not sign. And agriculture is a major vote bank. Understanding? Maybe अगर demonetization नहीं होता तो MSME sector would have stood very powerfully. But what about agriculture? And government does not have that much money because agriculture will require large scale investments. Fourth, it is dependent on monsoons. It is dependent on monsoon. It is dependent on monsoon, which is unreliable and irregular. Which is unreliable and irregular, affecting 66% of total cropped area. Affecting 66% of total cropped area. Although India is the second largest irrigated country in the world, although India is second largest irrigated country in the world after China. After China. Irrigated country in the world after China. Still, only 35% of land is under irrigation. 35% of the land is under irrigation. 35% of the land is under irrigation. Success of Green Revolution has shown that irrigation increases point wise likho, productivity and production, second point, income, agricultural income, third, creates internal demand for goods and services, and fourth, helps in improvement of both physical and social infrastructure. Helps in improvement of both physical and social infrastructure. As it raises the standard of living, comma, increases social mobility and aspiration levels. Understood this line? Social mobility and aspiration levels. ये अब हम कहाँ यूज करेंगे? जो इरिगेशन का टॉपिक होगा उसमें. If the region is irrigated and if the irrigation benefit is given to all the sections of the society properly, तो production increases, productivity increases, surplus is sent to the market. As the surplus is sent to the market, you get more money. As you get more money, you start buying consumer goods. You start buying agriculture inputs, चाहे वो farm machinery हो, चाहे वो the fertilizers etc. हो. Fine. as the social mobility increases, सबके पास पैसे है तो ये caste के divisions नहीं रहते. As there is no caste का divisions, then the farmers will all come together and start doing cooperative farming. As they start doing cooperative, yeah, there will be consolidation of the land holdings. As they start doing cooperative farming, so obviously economies of scale काम आता है. That means instead of doing manual worker, you will take a harvester. It will create industrial demand of the goods and services. As the industrial demand of the goods and services is there is more money, you will send your children to education. And इसमें से surplus labor from the agriculture धीरे धीरे remove होता है. Once they become graduate, they will not come on the agriculture farm. They will go into some industry. Understanding? Or they will get some other source of employment. But obviously, it is not a quick solution. It requires at least 30-40 years. किसी और गवर्नमेंट को 30 साल बाद. Understanding? उसका benefit will be reaped by someone else. For example, most of the benefits of Sheila Dikshit was reaped by Arvind Kejriwal. Getting it? And Sheila Dikshit किस में? Corruption के नाम में. But you look at the infrastructure of Delhi, which was completely changed by her. उसका benefit किसको मिला? Arvind Kejriwal. What he had to do? He had to just go and cut the ribbons. Understanding? But ribbon किसने काटी? Kejriwal ने. Project किसने launch किया? Kejriwal ने. Understanding? So this is one reason why nobody wants to spend on agriculture, because it is not going to help you in the next 5 years. Getting it? Next, seasonal pattern of Indian agriculture. ये बिल्कुल काम का नहीं है. Seasonal pattern of Indian agriculture. That is, we have our agriculture divided into Kharif, Rabi, and Zaid. Tell me an example of Kharif's cropping season. Months? Can I say southwest monsoon? Rabi? Winters? Northeast monsoon? What? Zaid is dry summers. Which is the most important crop of Kharif? Rice. उसके बाद tell me yes or no. Cotton. Yes. Maize. Corn. Jawar, bajra. Sugarcane. Groundnut. राबी में wheat. Which pulses? Gram, chana. Not every pulses. ये मैं इसलिए बता रहा हूँ क्योंकि इंडिया में याद रखना, एक्सेप्ट फॉर दिस क्रॉप्स विच आई एम गिविंग यू, बाकी तमिलनाडु में राबी क्रॉप्स जो हमारे हैं तमिलनाडु में दे बिकम अ खरीफ क्रॉप्स, फाइन. सो इसलिए बार बार प्रीलिम्स में क्वेश्चन आता है XYZ क्रॉप इज ओनली राबी क्रॉप इन इंडिया. सो अनलेस इट इज व्हीट, ग्राम एंड बार्ली, वो स्टेटमेंट हमेशा रॉन्ग रहेगा, फाइन. बंगाल में इट इज टेकन इन ऑल द सीजन्स. राइस is chiefly a kharif crop, but Bengal mein it is taken in all the seasons. Barley. चलो खत्म ही होने आया. And Zaid mein again we have rice and melons. Vegetables. Watermelon, muskmelon, etc. are Zaid. So ये चार्ट याद रखना. One thing is there, that is सरसों. What is सरसों known as in? Mustard. Mustard is what? Kharif or Rabi? सरसों का साग कब खाते हो? विंटर्स में. मक्का दोनों है इंडिया में, याद रखना. खरीफ. बाजरा कभी भी होता है. यस, फॉडर क्रॉप ही है वो. Next, characteristics, labor intensive. It is labor intensive. It is labor intensive. काम का नहीं है. Next characteristics is जो important है, जिसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन आएगा, is mixed cropping is predominant. Mixed cropping is predominant. Mixed cropping is predominant. So we will solve this as in the diversification. Why there is a mixed cropping in India? लिखने की जरूरत नहीं, कल आएगा ये सारा point. क्यों है? So that it acts as a basic insurance to the Indian farmers कि if one crop fails then there is another crop. Fine. What do you mean by mixed cropping? Mixed farming मतलब क्या? या mixed cropping means what? No. एक ही फील्ड में क्या? नहीं. Mixed farming means animals and crops on the same piece of the land. That is the definition of mixed cropping or mixed farming. So mixed farming means that is multiple cropping. That is different. This is mixed farming, mixed cropping एक ही है. Livestock plus agricultural, livestock plus crops on the same piece of the land is mixed farming. खुल्लर में ये गलत दिया है डेफिनेशन, and he has confused mixed for cropping with multiple cropping. उसमें प्रॉब्लम है. सो देर इज अ मल्टीपल क्रॉपिंग में इंटरक्रॉपिंग, क्रॉप रोटेशन, वो सब है कि डिफरेंट क्रॉप्स ऑन द सेम पीस ऑफ द लैंड. दिस इज मिक्स्ड फार्मिंग और मिक्स्ड क्रॉपिंग मीन्स एग्रीकल्चरल क्रॉप्स प्लस एनिमल्स ऑन द सेम पीस ऑफ द लैंड. Mixed farming is the characteristic feature of regions with high population density, comma, small land holdings, and lack of irrigation. Fine. Next problem of Indian agriculture: small and fragmented land holdings. Comma, small and fragmented land holdings. Next problem of Indian agriculture: small and fragmented land holdings, comma, lack of mechanization. Fine. It is our separate question. Next problem of Indian agriculture: inadequate storage, comma, transportation, and marketing facilities. Next problem: low agricultural productivity. जो ये problems दे रहा हूँ अभी मैं, ये सारे separate questions हैं. Low agriculture productivity, it is our separate topic, agriculture productivity and diversification. Low agriculture productivity and lack of crop diversification. Next, lack of talented youth in agriculture. Due to low status to agriculture in the society. Obviously इसके ऊपर कुछ solution नहीं हो सकता. Low status to agriculture in the society. And last, soil erosion and degradation. Causing low productivity and production. And one last problem which is not in our chapter, last chapter का ये problem है, farmer suicides. ये अलग टॉपिक है, फार्मर सुसाइड. Where is this problem given? This problem is given in 10th chapter of your syllabus. This is not in the 3rd chapter of our syllabus. Fine. So we'll meet tomorrow. कल मैं लंबी क्लास लूँगा and we are going to finish this chapter with the printed notes. But कल का lecture important है. You come even for government schemes and prelims का this thing. किसका है? किसका है? ये अमित सर. अच्छा.